5 more minutes, and we'll be ready to answer all of your questions on Amazon. One more minute and we'll be live. This is the My Amazon Guy live Q&A every Friday at 12 Eastern with Jason Master Mateo.
Whoa.
Johnny boy, what's up?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you too, and we are live.
Happy Friday. What's going on, everybody? As you can see, we don't have Jason with us. He is out on vacation, out of the office, doing something fun. I don't know what he's doing.
Middle of the ocean. He's on
Middle of the ocean. Oh, he's on a raft, a canoe. Where is he?
Could be a small cruise, could be a big one. No idea.
Wow. Well,
we are missing Jason Mastromadio today. So you guys have me, Tom Fitzgibbons, another account director here at My Amazon Guy. You guys got to see John last week, right?
Is it Mastromadio? I thought it was Mastromateo.
Maybe.
We're gonna have to clarify that. I need to know. So Tom, tell everyone what you do here, so everyone knows what you are. I know you as the Gaddy Daddy, but we need to know exactly what you do here.
I am what is called a group account director here at My Amazon Guy. I have my awesome team of brand managers who are supporting our clients. I also help direct and oversee the other account directors here at My Amazon Guy.
So you're like a boss of some level. I see.
You could say that.
Pyramid goes up, ladies and gentlemen.
What about you, John? Let's say we got some new guests joining us today, some new visitors. What do you do here?
Oh, what do I do here? I am a senior account executive here at My Amazon Guy. So everyone knows me on my Wednesday ARL show where I review ASINs every Wednesday at noon. And I hop on here every Friday with Jason to talk about toys, fun stuff, great Amazon tricks, merchandising, PPC hacks, anything technical I don't do. I'm more of the merchandising guru, as I would like to say. I'm also here for some jokes, some light humor, and I also like to ask, what do you have behind your shelf right there? I see, is that a bottle of, what is that? Where's that red bottle?
I am based in St. Louis, Missouri. That is our World Series Championship Bud Light bottle. Unopened.
Oh. Interesting. Okay,
cool. Books, couple records.
Everyone's got records. What's with everyone in records? You, Francisco. I need some.
Coming back, baby.
Here. Do you play the records or no?
Yeah, I got a record player.
All right.
I'm an oldies guy. Classic rock.
What do you consider classic rock? Let's go.
Oh, I could go deep here, John. I could go deep.
Before we have the questions, I need to know what do you consider classic rock?
60s. I got some Hendrix behind me. I got a little bit of Black Sabbath, if you're into that. I have some Beatles, though.
Beatles is rock?
It's about as classic as you can get for rock.
I don't know. Put in the comments, guys, if you believe Beatles is rock and not just something on a channel you skip through. Anyway, let's hop into what we got rocking and rolling here. Facebook user says, it's not right, but right. You're correct. You're also right. Not sure where that was posted, but send us so we can fix that for
it's in our YouTube description for the video.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna have to get someone cracking on that. Kevin says, good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. Kevin is always in here rocking and rolling from Lakeland. I always have the joke of, I thought it was butter, but that's land of lakes. So that's not Lakeland.
Good afternoon, Kevin.
Yes, it is indeed the afternoon now. You're not central, are you, Tom?
I am central, St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, so that's still AM. So good on the morrow to you.
It's 11. I'm up and at 'em already.
Hamza says, hey, happy Friday. Happy Friday, Hamza. So we recently got this quality certificate in Europe for our product. We want to include the quality badge on our main image, but when we do, our listing gets search suppressed. Do you think there's a chance we can include the badge? How do we get around the search suppressed issue? Thanks. I'm going to let Tom handle that. It sounds like something a group account director would know.
Yes, you would know that. I would know that. So, Hamza, Amazon is very restrictive with what you can have on your main image. Typically, if you dive deep into the terms of service on the main image, they only want to see the product, what is included in the product. Now, you will see that suppression if you try to add a badge. There really is no way around that. I would maybe take another stance here, and you could possibly add this as a product feature, one of your bullets, but you will need to most likely remove that badge to get around that suppression. You can see some examples, and it looks like John's going to try to find John, click that top ice cream scooper. The one that had like the ice cream on the side, sponsored second one. Yeah. Strawberry ice cream right
This
there.
one?
Yes. Now, Amazon's algorithm, Amazon's bots, they can't catch it all. Obviously, this ice cream scooper does not come with strawberry ice cream. They are more protective on badges, specifically, like you mentioned, your quality badges, where, yeah, that's going to cause a suppression. Excuse me. You'll see Stephen Pope have on our YouTube channel many main image hack videos. When you get into adding text, adding badges like you're mentioning, you're going to, thank you, John, you're going to start seeing suppressions. Perfect.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that too, because a lot of people, Jason and I brought this up a bunch of times with the ice cream scoop, and how a lot of people in this specifically ice cream scoop category, they're going into it, they're using it kind of smart, right? Like they're pulling up that this looks like it's on your retail packaging, right? But it's really more than likely not. But what you're doing is you're using that hack to show the relevant keyword for that increasing a CTR. But then what they're doing now is they're also putting the swatches on here too. So you would never know that this thing came in all these colors if you didn't see that there. And is this customer going to be PO'd if they get their scoop, their mint sorbet scoop, and it doesn't have this tag on it? No, it's just going to help someone say like, oh wow, it also comes in burgundy. Cool, let me click on it, and then that's going to help them convert. Yeah,
and that tag, I would bet my life, is computer generated, right? Like John exactly said, it doesn't come on it, but it is adding value, helping increase click through, showing different options that you could get through that variation.
Totally faux show.
So Hamza, to wrap this up, I think you will keep facing that suppression if you don't remove that badge from the main image. You can test putting it in a supplemental image, secondary image, and also highlight it in your product features. That's where I would start. If you go into your A+ content, if you're brand registered, you're often going to get errors if you submit if you mention a certificate or a quality badge like you're mentioning without proof of that. That proof can be submitted in the back end as well. But I think a good starting point to get your listing back to active, back to selling, get it out of the main image, put it in maybe the second image spot or another secondary image, and then maybe highlight it, test highlighting it in the product features.
Good tips. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, Hamza, let's drop your ASIN if you're comfortable sharing it. We'd love to take a look at it and give you some more juicy feedback on that.
We will not see it if it is suppressed, John.
That's why I'm not a group account director.
That's okay. It's learning for everyone here today, John. Jeff Allen, if you manage a Seller Central account that has several brands, yes, many of our clients do have that. Do you have to have A+ and brand story for all of the brands to qualify for A+ premium, or can you meet the requirements for only one brand? John, do you know much about premium here?
So I think it's 15 of you have to have 15 A+ to qualify for the premium. Now, if it's all going to be on one Seller Central account, I believe that meets the requirements as long as you don't have separate Seller Central accounts. Tom, what do you think?
I was going to screen share the requirements. I am in Age of Sage here. We can take a look and see specifically what Amazon has for this. But yes, it is a minimum threshold per brand, I believe. Okay, we're in Age of Sage here. Stephen Pope's Seller Central account. Let's learn more about Premium A+ content. And then there should be a eligibility section here. You have already published A+ brand story to all ASINs within your catalog that you own. You can confirm this by accessing the A+ Content Manager. Yep. And John, you are exactly right. You have had at least 15 project submissions of A+ content that have been approved within the past 12 months.
Yeah. So it's going to be, Jeff, you're going to find, as long as you have one Seller Central account that manages multiple brands, you'll be good. Where you run into that problem is if you have multiple brands and multiple Seller Central accounts and you want to have that separation. I always tell people, if you have a parent company and it's an umbrella and you have different brands underneath it, you always want to make it a little bit cohesive. So if you have Fitzgibbons Corp, and have Age of Sage under it, and this and that. You want the Seller Central account to be the Fitzgibbons Corp. And this way everything is kind of connected to that, so it doesn't look like you're selling, Jeff's Ice Cream Scoops under Jeff's Ice Cream Scoops Corp, and then you're also selling a different brand called, Rob's Waffle Maker under Jeff's Ice Cream Scoops, right? So you want it to be a little bit more cohesive with that.
100%. And Jeff, the other thing to point out, let's say you button up your back end, you get A+ submissions added to where they need to be per brand. Amazon will re-index that and take a check for your eligibility at the start of the month.
Cool. Great info. Thank you, kind sir. Folkwe. I'm going to stop saying it now. Hi, everyone. 2 questions. Question 1, post-launch, by the time of maturity phase of the product, can we get sales on keywords which are indexed, not in title, no ads of them, but they are in bullet points and content? And we'll go to number 2 is, are we going to lose index keywords if not in title, not on ads, but in bullets and descriptions? So let's go back to the first one. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah. Okay. So can we get sales on keywords which are indexed, not in the titles, not in ads? Yes, because you have a lot of back-end attributes as well that could lead to your growing your organic index keyword count, allowing you to show up in more placements, essentially. The best place you can check this, John, you know where I'm going with this in Seller Central? I'll screen share again in a second. Let me pull it up.
Screen share. School me, because apparently I'm asleep at the wheel thinking I could get an ASIN shared that's suppressed.
John, what do you know about the search query performance report in brand analytics?
I know enough that I was trying to put it into ChatGPT so we can analyze it as a whole, and that failed. So still sticking to the tried and true real person looking at it. But tell us more about it.
Okay. Let me share my screen here. Okay. We're going to put search query performance report. Let's go through the workflow here. You have to have a registered brand and you have to have access to brand analytics. Click into brand analytics. You're going to be brought to the search query performance report. This is one of the most valuable reports you can get in Seller Central, in my opinion. Stephen Pope has a great video, ICAP marketing funnel on this. Now, what you're going to see here, let's go to monthly. Let's go to 2023, and let's look at, let's say May, most recent data. Age of Sage. There we go. So for the brand Age of Sage, it is going to give us our top. We can go all the way down to 100. That's how we like to analyze the data. Your top search queries that are leading to each stage of the funnel for your products. Impressions, clicks. If we scroll over here, you're going to see cart ads. You're going to see purchases. The whole sales funnel in Amazon, essentially. What is great about this report is you can measure your indexing here slightly, right? You are going to be able to see where certain keywords, whether they are branded or non-branded, are leading to brand share, aka market share for each of these keywords and for each stage of the funnel. Now, you have different triggers with this, and this will kind of lead into your part 2 question here. If we can move back to that. Are we going to lose index keywords if not in title, not in ads, but in bullet points? Ideally, no, you won't, but it's something you kind of need to keep refreshing and remeasuring, right? Best practice with backend SEO, refresh those backend search terms every 30 to 60 days. The biggest point here is you want to grow your organic index keyword count, and you can use Cerebro Helium 10 to measure that. You can also just do straight up keyword tracking for highly applicable, high search volume keywords that you want to target for your products and measure the trends there. The biggest thing with the search query performance report, when you measure this, maybe on a monthly basis, every other week basis, is how your brand share for some of these top keywords you want to be targeting is changing. If you were dropping in impressions, John, what do you think we can do with that? Impressions drops?
Impressions drops, then what?
It's going to come down to advertising. Maybe you're already advertising that keyword. Maybe you're not, and it should be added to your advertising efforts. Organic and PPC in terms of keywords go hand in hand, guys. We all know that. We've talked about that a few times on the podcast. And then you can go down the stages of the funnel and see where you are dropping off. Let's say for Mother's Day gifts for mom and daughter, we dropped on our brand share for purchases. John, you want to take a stab at what that's going to come down to?
I really don't want to, because I'm not sure if I'm going to say the right thing or not. I want to give people the right information here.
Fair.
Yeah, let's hear what you have to say.
It's going to come down to what's on your detail page. Maybe with this, and we're past Mother's Day, but let's say we're ramping up for Father's Day, right? And we're seeing a drop. We're seeing a drop in purchases, brand share for a Father's Day keyword. That's when I would take a stab at re-adding it in your titles and bullets if it's not already there. Maybe put it in the backend search terms as well. With it already being Father's Day, next Sunday?
I'm getting a necktie. I'm probably going to get a handmade card. I'm never going to get anything good. I feel like Mother's Day, my wife gets all the good stuff. And for Father's Day, I get all the homemade stuff. So.
Underappreciated, John. I'm sorry about that.
No bueno.
But team, what we can do here is if you're seeing drops on the purchases side, it's going to come down to what's on your PDP, what's on your product detail page, right? So this is the most conclusive search query report I think you can ever get. This is probably one of the best reports that Amazon Seller Central will give you without using something like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout, right? Specific search queries that you are indexing for and showing up for. And the biggest thing in terms of triggers and levers here that you can action on is the changes in your data, whether you're analyzing it every month, whether you're analyzing it every week, or you can even take a broader approach and take a quarterly view as well, right? Should sum up some of the data that we're seeing here already. Ideally, it's a good like monthly view type thing to action on. If you're doing weekly changes, that's going to be like too much going on. You don't want to change your title every other day. You're not going to be able to measure and see the results from what you're doing here. Where we can take this one step further is on the ASIN view. You can input an ASIN. You can see what search queries you're showing up for. And again, exactly like we talked about, you can measure each change in brand share, AKA market share, compared to your competition through each stage of the funnel. John, you think we nailed that one? You got any questions on that?
That was a lot. That was a lot of good info, faux show. I know me and the search query report don't mix, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Margot, when a customer returns an item, how does Amazon know it may be sold again? Can they just send it back to us and not resell it? How to do that, please. So Tom, you could tell me what you know, but from what I know, it really depends on the category of the product,
yes,
your settings on the back end as well, and how it actually gets returned to Amazon.
Yeah, so a couple different things. Let's say you are selling something like a protein bar, grocery, something like that is a consumable. You won't be able to sell it again. With that being said, it usually typically shows up in unfulfillable inventory. You'd have to either send it back to yourself or dispose of it. And you can change these settings in unfulfillable automation settings, I think is what it's called. I can pull that up as well. Let's see. When a customer returns on. Yeah, so that would come back to how you remove that inventory from unfulfillable.
Do you get the option to do like, I remember a while ago, like years ago, I don't know if they still do it now, but Amazon, they give you an option to like field destroy, like you just destroy.
Yeah. And there's fees with this. We all know Amazon loves to throw any fee at us, right? So when we have unfulfillable inventory, whether it is customer damage, defective, returned, you are going to see a lot of different reasons here. But what you can do here, and again, if it's a consumable, it has to be sent back to you or disposed of. Amazon will not reuse that because they can't trust what happened when it was sent to the customer since it's a consumable.
And then how do they flip it over to, sometimes you'll see offerings where it's like Amazon Warehouse, where it's like open box and stuff like that. Like how does someone know if it goes that route, or Amazon will just do it?
No, so that is part of the settings here as well. Refurbishments, if you have this checked. So depending on how much that item might be damaged, and if you have the automation set up here on, you can have Amazon essentially automatically make used versions of that product for your listing. It tends to bloat the back end in the manage inventory page because there's maybe 4 or 5 different stages. You could have something that's used dash very good, something that is used maybe just good, and then down the line, depending on how much it's damaged.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I remember I was looking at a television and there was like a deal for like open box and it was like $150 cheaper. And I was like, how bad could it be? And I got it. Yeah. Spend the $150, people. It's you never know what it is. It's much better to if you're on the customer end of things, something like that you want to take a look at. That's a high.
Yeah, and the last thing I can say here is, let's say you're not in a consumable and Amazon, maybe they say it's damaged, maybe it was just a simple return. But the point is when you send that inventory back to you through a removal order, you could have you or your warehouse inspect it, see how much it's really damaged, make sure the packaging is all cleaned up, and then reship that back in as well.
Yeah, I tell people sometimes if you have a boomerang item, it's easy that if it's sometimes worthwhile to get sent back to you, right? So for example, I always use this, if you're selling remotes, right, something like this, you can very easily take back, maybe just change the battery pack on the back or whatever it may be, and you put it back in some box and you can send it out, right? But something that's someone can use, for example, an ear cleaning device or something like that. That's really not something you can very easily boomerang and repackage and send it back out. So just be cognizant of that for sure.
Yep, 100%.
Great question. Faison says, hey guys, please share your strategy for newly launched products with a limited budget.
Limited budget. I would push a little harder and say how limited, but John, we can easily run through a couple different launch strategies, launch ideas. Coming from the sales side, what do you think here? Right, I can go deep, but I want to see what you got.
So, right now, there's freebie vines. I think there's 2 freebie vines right now, right? That you can do.
Yeah, that just came out like this week or last week. So I think it is literally 1 or 2 Vine reviews you can get for free, right? Without, yeah. Okay.
So I would pepper in a lot of that. I would make sure that the listing is up to snuff before you do any sort of budget as far as advertising, right? So when you're saying limited budget, I could think of that twofold. So limited budget as resources for creative end to get it done, or limited budget on advertising as a sole kind of thing. So I'll touch on both, right? So if you have limited resources to get it done, DIY, do it yourself, get Canva, learn, YouTube, that kind of stuff. There's tons of videos on here on best practices for merchandising. Make sure you're utilizing best practice for sizing. Make sure that your listing is talking to your specific customer avatar. This is all before your product is any ad spend behind it, any sort of strategy of launching, right? So in order for you to have the best foot forward, you have to make sure that your listing is buttoned up. So making sure you're not just keyword stuffing random things, you're doing your due diligence on who your customer avatar is. So understanding if you're selling water bottles, the one thing I hear people say all the time is, when I ask them, who's your customer avatar? Everyone drinks water. No, it's not, right? Not everyone's going to be able to afford a $49 water, cooler kind of thing. So understanding who the price point hits at and merchandising accordingly. So now let's say that the listing is buttoned up, ready to rock and roll, and you want to do some ad spend behind it. What do we do?
Yeah. So ideally with any product launch, you need to supplement with a little bit of advertising spend. And if your budget's limited, that's okay. This is where I would really hammer in to the keywords you want to target, right? You will need access to a tool like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout. You will need to see what your competitors are already indexing for. Through Helium 10, you will get some of that average CPC data. You'll get search query data as well. And then if you have a limited budget here, you need to find those golden nuggets that you can implement into your advertising launch strategy. So exactly like John said, you want to get that listing 100% buttoned up, great titles, great well built out bullets, keyword SEO optimized, great main image and supplementary images, big plus if you can get a video and an A+ content if your brand registered up beforehand as well. Back to the advertising side, when your budget's limited, you got to find those golden nuggets that you think will help contribute to sales. And it's not going to be a one-time use here for your PPC strategy. I'd recommend probably doing a low budget auto campaign, seeing what customer search terms are coming through and leading to conversions. You can easily pull those out, make them into its own unique campaign, and you already have that data to know that they are going to convert. And then other than that, you will need to find some of those highly applicable, high search volume keywords that you can capitalize on. But again, it's going to come down to what your budget is, how much you're willing to spend on ads. And again, ads and depending on how competitive your category or the product you're launching is, you're going to need to supplement with ads if you want a successful launch. Yeah. That is probably the best path I could give you.
If you're in supplements, Faison, certain categories, like Tom said, that you're just going to have to be very heavily pay to play to get going. So things like supplements, things like certain consumer electronics, things like grocery, you're going to have a lot of pay to play to get into this very crowded space. So if you are, niching down and you're in a small corner, you can get away with not having a huge budget and being able to capitalize on that. But just, you got to understand the boat you're in, right? So if you're coming out with the latest apple cider vinegar gummy in supplement category, you're up a really steep hill, right? So it can be done, but it's going to be costly, right? So understanding, you got to set the reasonable expectations.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. Great question. Yusuf says, hi. I bought some G10s from G10. What can we do with those? Also, tell me a little bit more, Yusuf. Are you having issues with applying them to the GS1? Is that kind of thing? Or what are we talking about?
Listing your products in general?
Tell me more. I want to know more. I want to grill Tom here. Rope says, how to raise sales from daily 1 to 2 to 6 to 7 as average sales in the niche. When you see 90% of keywords of the niche are down, they have low search volumes. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, a couple different ways you can go. First, I would probably take a look at how so yes, it's a niche product, a niche category from what you're saying. Yeah, times get tough when you're seeing 90% of the keywords have a search volume drop, right? There's got to be some keywords within that product type, no matter how niche they are, that aren't hitting that drop. And that's probably where I would scale more on PPC specific to those targets. But with that being said, I think another avenue you could go here is, again, some competitor analysis. How are your competitors priced? And again, I understand it's a niche product, but it's very rare these days when you are the only type of product on the market in Amazon, right, John? So I would take a look at your competitors here. And if you're trying to boost that BSR and get your rankings in better shape, always a good idea to maybe do a temporary sale price or price drop. Again, helping spike that BSR and capitalize on the search volume that is there. It also depends on what product you're selling, right? If you are in lawn care, gardening, business is a booming right now. We're hitting the summer months. Anything outdoor related, this is where you are going to see spikes. But then sometimes we have clients, or you may be selling a product that is a little more seasonal, something that really only spikes during gift giving season, November, October, December, and other months compared to that, they're typically going to be down. So to wrap this up, I would really use Helium 10, Cerebro, your own ASIN, and see what keywords you're indexing for. And then also supplement with some competitor keywords. There are going to be those keywords that aren't having that dip. It's not going to be 100% across the board. Capitalize on those keywords with PPC. If you're already advertising them, maybe do some bid adjustments, increases to ensure that you are getting more placements there. And then keep an eye on the trends every other week, see how search volume is changing, increasing or decreasing, and then you can sort of rinse and repeat that strategy from there.
Why would 90% of keywords in the niche be down? Why does that usually happen?
It's hard. Man, if I knew what this product is, I could probably give a little bit more insight there.
Yeah, everyone, if you're watching and you have questions and you're not afraid to show your ASIN,
yeah, we can pull it up.
We're not going to steal your product.
We can pull it up. But John, I mean, this is kind of something we've been seeing, and I mean, sheesh, probably for the last year or two. Let's go back to the good old days at the beginning of COVID. Not really the good old days, right? But there were a lot of businesses that there were a lot of sellers on Amazon that hit new highs and spikes. Everyone was locked in. Everyone was buying online. Amazon as a whole was greatly increased in terms of revenue and how much sellers were selling for that first year of COVID. And then as we got past that, a lot of categories started seeing bigger and bigger drops, worse than years before. This could partially be due to economic issues, right? We tend to sometimes see that, especially now more so than ever. People are having less disposable income, which means they might not be shopping online. So hard to get too much more in depth, John, on that than circling back on an economic downturn, and without knowing what the product is. But
yeah, share your products, guys. We'd love to see more. It says, how can we hide browse nodes in the PDP? Can you hide a browse node in the PDP?
So I know sometimes your browse node could be removed and you'll have to re-add your category path. With that being said, you typically don't want to hide your browse node. I'd be curious to know why you're looking to do that. And I'm questioning if that's even possible.
Interesting. Yeah, Margo, let us know why you're looking to do that. Is it because you're looking to not share the route of where it's going, or
But it comes down to the reason you want that category path is it comes down and helps with indexing.
Yeah. Tell us some more. I want to know about that.
You typically don't want an orphaned category on any of your products.
You don't want to go into an orphanage. That's bad. Matthew, the guy who likes to troll me, can multi-channel fulfillment orders that you place on your Seller Central account leave reviews on the products sent to them?
Technically, yes. I mean, can't anyone leave a review on a detail page? You'll see that verified purchase badge if someone was a verified purchase, but
so you can sell on your website, have it multi-channel fulfilled through Amazon, and then the person can leave a seller review or a product review.
I technically both.
It's interesting.
Technically both. I mean, they're not going to have the same path if they bought it from your website, right? But
yeah, he's saying the client sold a large amount of inventory to a large seller in our category. They were doing great with our products, but since then stopped running ads. So it's not moving as fast as now, and it's hurting the brand now. And we can't beat the seller on the buy box. If we buy product back from them, is there a way to move their FBA inventory to my client's account?
No, not between Seller Central accounts. That is a tricky one. Can you go back to the first part of that question?
Yeah.
Yeah, stopped running ads. Things are going to slow down. We talked about some products being pay to play, some categories being pay to play. Supplements is a pretty heavy example. It's not moving as fast now. And then, John, apologies, go back to the second part of that question. We can't beat the seller on the buy box. So this is a vendor, it sounds like, that you sold a large amount of inventory to, and now they are listing on your product detail page and they're beating you on the buy box. Does that sound like what we're talking about here, John?
That sounds like it. And they've already sold the inventory, so they're not concerned with if they're making sales, and now they're doubling down. And not only do they sell the inventory, but now that customer is selling it on their product detail page, so they're not able to get more sales.
Amazon is not in the business of policing your vendor relationships. When you're doing these type of vendor deals, it's important to set like a map pricing, in my opinion. First off, if you want your sales on Amazon, I would typically recommend to hold that true and keep that to yourself, and maybe not sell thousands of units to potentially other sellers who can show up on your product detail page. Yeah. You will lose those sales here. So yes, it's a weird thing here, Matt, because you are not getting the sales directly attributed to your Seller Central account, and now they're beating you out on pricing, but you sold product to them, mass product to them, and you, I would assume, made some revenue off of that. So it really comes down to a business decision on your end. If you want to be able to sell your products to other vendors who can show up on your product detail page, you can, when you do these agreements, you can try to set up map pricing, meaning your other vendors can't sell below whatever you're selling at, and try to set that true. Maybe you limit their sales channels to something like Walmart or eBay and you keep Amazon to yourself. It really does come down to how you structure these partnerships and these relationships. And what's also important to note is you sold that inventory, you made money off of it, and yeah, now they're coming on your PDP and they're taking the sales. If it's not an astronomical amount of inventory, maybe they only have a couple hundred products, a couple hundred units for your product in a fulfillment center that they're selling on, and when they run out, you'll have the buy box back, or you can compete with your own partner, your vendor partner, on price and drop your price down.
Yeah.
Hard thing here, John. You got anything else to add? It's one of those tricky business things.
I know what you're saying with MAP and stuff like that, and I've been on that end of things as working with manufacturers and distribution and stuff, and it all comes down to Amazon's a marketplace, right? So it doesn't matter. Amazon's not going to say, you're not you can't gate your listings. I always tell people you're not an Apple or a Nike just yet, right? Where you can't say, hey, we're gating them off. So understanding that's the true concept of Amazon's a marketplace. So understanding you've already made profit on it when you sold it to them, and you could do the MAP and MSRP guidelines and stuff like that, but businesses are always going to find loopholes, and they're going to sell under a different account. You're not going to know who it is, and you could do transparency, but at the end of the day, it's just you should have your own brand on Amazon and then your other brand that you're doing distribution. If you're not a big box brand name that's going to command you to be a brand on both ends of it. But yeah, it's definitely a sticky situation for sure. Jeff, part 1 of 2, coming soon. Regarding A+ premium qualification, we have met the minimum requirements for approved brand story for 15 ASINs and 15 approved A+ pages for one of the brands in our Seller Central account. Did we already answer this? Oh no, here we go.
Yeah.
We also have 3 other brands. Yeah, we already answered this one. It came up twice, Jeff. Yeah, we already answered this.
So yeah, he might just be trying to elaborate, trying to say like, hey, I already did some of these things you guys are talking about. So with this part 2 here, we also have 3 other brands under the same Seller Central account for a total of over 100 ASINs. Do they all need A+ content and a brand story, or have we met the requirements? So like we kind of discussed, it should be brand specific. I'm not remembering that off the top of my head. So let's say you have, what did you say, John? Fitzgibbons Inc. Incorporated registered in the back end for a trademark.
Yeah.
And let's say you have 15 listings. They have that brand name attributed to them in the back end. You have A+ tied to them. You have brand story tied to them. You should be good to go. Again, I'm 90% sure it's brand specific focused and not holistically across the different brands you have on your account. Another way to get around this, Jeff, is obviously brand story. It applies to all of your products using the same brand name. So you create one brand story, everything under that brand name for that branded brand story is going to have that brand story attributed to it on the product detail page. Now, I've done this with a couple clients. When we have a mass catalog, like over 100 ASINs, you're able to, I would highly recommend, create a more generalized A+ content. And if you're missing, like out of those 100 listings, if you're missing A+ content being attributed to a lot of them, a general one will help you meet that threshold. You can apply it to all those ASINs and keep it focused on like touching on different product types, what the product features of on those product types are. And then when you get that live, get that launch, it's attached and attributed to those 100 ASINs that you have in your catalog with the same brand name. You should be able to meet that requirement for those that specific brand name when that month refreshes. So hard to know, Jeff, because I don't know when you attributed these and you met those requirements. Again, if it was more recent, you might have to wait till Amazon checks again. Try opening cases. You could try to open cases and say that you've met the requirements, outline what they are from the terms of service page that we showed you, and see if they can help you out. And we all know that can be a little difficult, but I think that's probably a good place to start. If you're missing A+ on a lot of listings, just do a generalized one.
Apparently now you can, we put on the company social, like, hey, email Jeff and his executive team if you have a problem. And then seller support on Twitter said, or you can tag us. So apparently Amazon's pushing their Twitter account to assist and that kind of stuff. So I'm curious to see how they're doing.
Yeah, and I've been seeing the Jeff emails for troubleshooting cases not work as much. Makes sense that they're kind of sidelining to Twitter, but it's one of those last resort strategies if you're facing like a difficult issue that support's not helping you out on and you feel like you've done everything that you know is needed or what they've already directed through previous Seller Central support cases. So, I mean, emailing something like the Jeff email or going to their Twitter page is a good like last resort if you're really not getting the support you need from them.
Yeah. Cue the Papa Roach music. Cut my life into pieces. Hamza says, I've added the quality badge in A+ content. How to provide quality badge information in the backend to avoid getting rejection. Please show in Seller Central if you can. Thanks a lot.
Trying to refresh my own memory on here. I was thinking it was through the applications page, but you can't just create your own application. I'm fairly certain there's a certificate. There's a way to upload those certificates and show that you have the approval. I am blanking on the workflow here though. Hamza, I apologize for that, or else I would screen share and show you. I don't see it in the manager selling applications. No.
We've stumped the group account director.
You could try doing a case, maybe outlining the certifications you have. If it's sidelining you from anything. And again, I've done that in the past. I do know that specifically for A+ content. So maybe you're certified or you have this quality badge for A, B, C, and D. Typically with a case, you can show that proof and you'll be good to get that error removed. But I'm fairly certain there's a place you can upload that in the back end. I'm just blanking on it.
That's cool. So if it comes to you, we'll come back to that. So we have Abdul says, good night from Pakistan. Good night. Good morning good afternoon from New York City.
Yeah.
Where the smog has been alleviated. So the Canadian forest fires have let up a little bit. So
yeah.
Daniel says, is there a spreadsheet that you can populate to analyze the search query? Oh, he's getting warmed up, guys. The search query performance.
Let's go. Yeah, I'll screen share again on this one. So this wasn't native when Amazon launched the search query performance report. Sheesh, how long ago was that, guys? Maybe year and a half ago. It is obviously one of those newer things, but let me screen share again here and let's take a look at the search query performance report. I should have that already up. Perfect. Yes, you can generate your downloads now. Awesome. So what you could do here, Daniel, is you could and we do this internally and we have some SOPs on this to measure those changes like I was discussing, but you could download maybe a month comparison between April and May. If you're somewhat proficient with Excel and spreadsheets and formulas, you could easily do some like VLOOKUP comparisons and compare some of those specific search query data to show, okay, from April to May, did my impression brand share drop for these keywords? Did my clicks drop? Did my purchases drop? And then previously, when we talked on the search query performance report and how this can be utilized, we heavily discussed different levers you could take an action on based on that data. So monthly comparisons is always good. You can easily segment that data here like we already showed. Monthly 2023, you can download April, download that, download May, sort of compile it all together, use some simple formulas to compare that data, and then you can measure the delta changes essentially for the same search queries through each market share funnel.
Cool. Have you ever heard of XLOOKUP?
No. Are you asking me that?
Yeah. So VLOOKUP, because you mentioned VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is like vertical, right?
Yeah.
So go up and down in Excel. XLOOKUP can go this way as well. So it's up this way. So it's like a more advanced version of VLOOKUP. It's my little tidbit knowledge.
Yeah.
Is any Excel guru?
I'm not an Excel guru.
I am not an Excel guru by any means. I had someone teach me VLOOKUP years ago, and then recently talked to me about XLOOKUP. So I was like, all right, cool. XLOOKUP it is. Sweet. Scott says, hey, Scott, making something homemade shows more love rather than less, even if the item is not what you wanted. I agree with you. Not sure what we're talking about there, but yeah. Are you baking anything for us? Some cake, brownies? What have we done? Let's take a look. Maria says, kindly share your strategy for newly product. I think we talked about that a little bit, but Tom, talk about overall kind of highlights new product launches.
Yeah. Let's say your budget is not an issue. You're willing to throw some money into ads. You're going to have creative all wrapped up. What we can do here is, yeah, let's use one of Steven's listings to, perfect. I'm already screen sharing. Okay. So you have a great product. You want to get it launched on Amazon. What are you going to do here? First and foremost, get the product created. It's okay if you don't have everything built out, but you could start sending an inventory once you have an FBA listing created. Heavily recommend doing an FBM listing as a backup. Again, fulfillment centers nowadays can be 3-week check-ins, 4-week check-ins. When we get into those higher selling times, Prime Day coming up, you're going to have inventory checked in much sooner than that. So what you can do here is create a skeleton listing, FBA, FBM, get everything wrapped up in the back end there. And now you're going to get to work on building out your product detail page. You are going to make sure you have a highly optimized title for SEO. Do that competitor research. Use Cerebro reverse ASIN lookups against your competitors. Land on a price that you want to sell on. And I want to take a couple more minutes on that, because with pricing and your pricing strategy, you don't want to jump into an oversaturated market with a higher priced product, 0 reviews. Even if you're pushing ads, you won't typically beat out that competition. So, and Steven heavily mentions this on his videos on YouTube as well. You want to start at a lower price than what you eventually want to sell at. And that's going to help boost your rankings and boost your BSR, especially during the honeymoon period here. So I would maybe think about it in probably like a monthly stage here. Maybe knock down 20 to 30% at the very launch of your product, when you have inventory, when the product detail page is fully built out, you got ads set up. And what you're going to do from there is accrue some sales velocity at that lower price. Typically, it can take a week or two, and then you can do 8 to 10% price increases to land on that final price. But the best practice here, Maria, is to launch that product at a lower price to really boost your rankings. And it's going to give you an edge in advertising as well. It's going to help you be more competitive launching in a potential category that could have tons of competitors and high competition, high CPC on keywords. That is going to allow you to generate those reviews. You can supplement with Vine if you're brand registered. And then definitely throw some money into PPC. Have your auto campaign set up so you can gold mine those customer search terms that are leading to conversions. Have exact match targets ready to go. And then also find some broader non-branded keywords that you think you might be able to be competitive on. Again, reverse ASIN, look up some competitors and see what they're indexing for and what those CPCs are for some of those keywords. And then it's just every week optimizations on your ads console. So have your PDP fully built out, great main image, supplemental images. We can use Steven's listing here as a good example. Some good infographic lifestyle images talking about product features. We have a optimized title here, full use of character count, implementing some of those keywords: bar soap, gift set for men, vegan, handmade, artisan soap, essential oil. We have well built out bullets here. Again, SEO keyword optimized. And then scrolling down here, we got a great brand story showcasing and linking some different product types as well that we're selling. And then a awesome premium A+ content. So you want to make sure you have everything buttoned up is what it comes down to. That is how you will get the most bang for your buck on a launch. And sometimes it's okay to lose a little money in that first month for the long-term gain for the rest of the year, for the rest of the time you want to sell that ASIN, just to help boost those rankings. John, you got anything else to add on that? I know I rambled there for a minute.
This is all good information. This is some good gold panning, good nuggets. So good question, Maria. Appreciate it. Kim K. Kim K says, I've been updating my number one. I've been updating my UPCs to GS1s. Great. Good to be compliant. For one of my variations, I'm adjusting all child ASINs to be of much better quality. I could merge UPCs, or maybe I could create new child ASINs with GS1 UPCs. The second part of that is buyers often buy more than one child ASIN. This makes me want to try to manage getting rid of the lesser quality ones, so I'm not selling mixed qualities. Not sure the best way to do this.
Yeah, let's start with part one here. So the GS1 UPC changes, it sounds like you're having some success changing those. That's good. Those can sometimes be harder cases from what I've seen in the back end. You could merge UPCs, yes, or maybe I should create new child ASINs with GS1 UPCs. Comes down to what your reviews are, in my opinion, on those existing ASINs that have those old non-GS1 UPCs. If you have good reviews, you have good sales velocity, they're selling well, I'd merge those UPCs and make sure you can get that switched, and Seller Central support can help with that. I think through our processes here in terms of updating a UPC to GS1, it comes down to some delete and relisting and working with Seller Central support to try to change that UPC. It's kind of similar to like a brand name change, in my opinion, having the product packaging show what the actual UPC is. Amazon will try to direct you to create a new ASIN, and you typically don't want to do that because you're going to lose the progress and sales velocity and reviews that you've made on your existing listing. So it sounds like you're already having success changing those UPCs. That's good. I would go with the merging route, assuming you have good reviews and good velocity. Let's go to part two on that one. Buyers often buy more than one child ASIN. Yep. This makes me want to try to manage getting rid of the lesser quality one, so I'm not selling mixed qualities. John, you think by lesser quality, she just means like not as high selling?
Yeah, either that, or if she's mixing a newer version of it with the older one, perhaps it was redone or something like that. That's the other way I could read that as well.
Yeah, with the latter there on, like, let's say you reformulated whatever your product is and you have a newer version, you typically don't want to create a new ASIN for that. Again, capitalizing on the existing reviews, on the existing sales velocity, everything you're already doing in the ads console with that specific ASIN. It comes down to essentially letting yourself run out of stock and coming in with a fresh batch. Sometimes we will have clients or listings that maybe they change one little thing on their existing product and it does actually make it look different. But what you can do is obviously just like update your main images. You can update your titles and your bullets to represent the changes that you had in that product. We see this pretty often. I have a good example here. A client that has a lot of, and this actually might be what you're getting towards, a client that has a lot of single pack listings, and they are seeing that customers are buying multiple quantities. So they want to adjust these to 2-pack listings, 3-pack listings, and they want to phase out these 1-pack listings. Now, what you could do there is you could easily update all of your backend information on that existing listing to be a 2-pack, change the main image, address it being a 2-pack in the titles and the bullets. You need to let that stock run out, though, before you send in new stock on that existing ASIN, so that you're not sending a customer who thinks they're buying a 1-pack, or excuse me, a 2-pack, and then it ends up being a 1-pack. And again, that is really just to ensure you're capitalizing on the velocity and everything built up with your current ASIN right now. Now, John, let's think about the other part of this, the first scenario we outlined, assuming it's want to try to manage getting rid of lesser quality ones. So let's say that this is referring to sales.
Non-performers.
Yeah, non-performers. Hard thing here. So it's going to come down to what the data tells you. And this is what I tend to recommend my clients. There are always going to be lower performers compared to top performers in your catalog, right? You could have 10 to 15 listings in your back end. all of which are generating sales. And then maybe only 2 or 3 of them are those top movers. And that's kind of normal with a lot of accounts. Now, on those slower movers, assuming they are just slower movers, did you do everything you could to push those? Are we doing ads effectively? Is the listing page fully cleaned up? Considering these are already parented, I would more lean to the route of, if it is just slower sales and they're not just complete non-movers, it's okay to keep them in there, but don't supply them with excess stock is what it comes down to. When you're looking at Amazon's restock recommendations, as accurate or close to accurate as those tend to be, it's going to give you some guidance knowing that, like, okay, well, I sold this in the last 30 days. I sold X amount of units in the last 60 days. I only need to send in this much. It's okay to have different stock levels for your different child ASINs and a parentage, depending on how that sales velocity is changing. If those slow movers are just that, slow movers, and they get some sales that supplement your overall revenue, it's not affecting profitability, just keep them lower stocked. They're generating the sales on your account, and it's probably not diminishing anything from those top sellers on that parentage, in my opinion.
Exactly. Agreed.
Phew, that was a tongue twister. Need a water break after that one.
Water break. Okay. Did you freeze?
No, I was trying to read the question. Sorry.
Discover the World says, can you take me on call? Maybe next week. I don't know. We haven't done that. I don't think Jason's ever done when you bring people on, because I don't know how to do that, Discover the World. So while you're discovering the world, I'll discover how to do that. Jana says, you mentioned customer avatar. Love that. Thank you. Are you basing who that is on Amazon Analytics, on purchasers, or just what demo the product you're selling serves? So that's a great question. Let me pull up my screen and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, John, I feel like this is a good one for you.
It's a goodie. It's a goodie. So let's talk about here. I was talking to someone just the other day in regards to a pineapple core, right? So I had asked this person, and this is not the seller per se, but who I was talking to, I said, who is your customer avatar? Who is purchasing your product? And they didn't know. So I said, okay, so who do you think is going to be purchasing it? Is it going to be children? No, it's not going to be children. Is it going to be elderly folks? Probably not. Is it going to be the dad? Is it going to be the mom? Is it going to be the husband? Who is it? So we start to break down those situations and those scenarios, right? So now we drilled it down to understanding, okay, customer avatar could be mom of kids that's portioning out pineapple and wants to do this easy and not waste food. So when we start to talk about, okay, waste, right, and mess, and who is that going to affect, right? Stay-at-home moms, people taking care of the household, people that are meal prepping, people that are not a fan of wasting product, right? People that are cognizant over their carbon footprint for a lot of this kind of stuff. So understanding that, you can take a look, and you could also do some competitive research analysis. So let's say if I'm taking a look at, let's take a look at something a little bit more streamlined. Let's take a look at supplement. Let's just type in supplements, right? So, and we'll come down here and we'll take a look at here. Well, maybe not one. That's clearly for women. Let's take a look at. Yeah, I was gonna say, who's that customer? Yeah. Woo! If anyone's watching right now, you get why that was funny. So take a look at this here, right? So they're showing a woman looking directly at the camera. They're showing someone with vegetables. They're showing a family together, right? So coming down into the A+ content here, great for all ages. So now we know their customer demographic and their customer avatar is going to be elderly through all ages, right? So understanding they're targeting a lot of people that are health conscious. They're targeting people that are understanding that they want all natural. They're not targeting people that don't care about this kind of stuff, that don't care if there's filler in there. They're targeting family, right? Made in the USA. So this brand, for example, they're talking about, okay, grown in the USA. That's important. They're hitting the customer avatar of people that care about things that are made in the USA, because that's a big one as well. Let's take a look at something like this. I'm always, Tom, whenever I pull up this kind of stuff and I do ASIN reviews, I always look at it and I'm like, I don't know what that is, so tell me what that is, right? So berberine, cinnamon, turmeric, cool. I don't know. So far, right off the rip, I have no idea what this does for me. Now I have to look a little bit. It's forcing me to look a little bit further. So, okay, supports immune function. Immune function, like immunity, like my immune. Okay, supports glucose metabolism, right? So that's talking to me about like I'm diabetic. So you're talking about glucose. Okay, supports cardiovascular, gastrointestinal. That's a lot. Right. So this almost sounds like a miracle pill, right? Where they're moving a lot of units. They're moving 27,000 units a month, right? But it's probably because people they either know what berberine is and they're searching for it and they're seeing that it has great reviews, right? They're telling a good us versus them story here, which is, I always tell people that's paramount. But what it doesn't do is you don't want to sound like a cure-all pill, right?
Yeah.
You want to really hone in onto, okay, is cardiovascular health the best thing, or is immune function or gastrointestinal? Because from what this sounds like, it's going to change my life, right? So when I go down here, you have to really pinpoint. If you notice, they keep on focusing on cardiovascular as the top thing, right? So it's cardiovascular stuff. I've seen this brand before, and they almost don't have a name for the product. It's almost they put what it is paramount right on the label, like apple cider vinegar, beetroot, horny goat weed, this kind of stuff. So they're banking on a lot of people understanding what it is and shopping for that. And I just had an interesting conversation with someone on LinkedIn about this, where they said a big brand was not using best practices, right? And they said, oh, well, they're already doing so many thousand units a month. Like, do they even need to use best practices? Well, of course they do, because you don't know if people are buying them because just from word of mouth of other people that have had good reviews with it, right? What about the people that don't know about them and that want to find them? So you're just looking more linear and not wide open. So
yeah. I think that's a really good, important view from like the customer journey perspective, right? And it's something we deal with on the brand management side when we sign clients all the time. You know, sometimes when I get a new client that's coming to my team and myself, we take a look at these listings before we get on the onboarding call, and we're just not clear on what this is. I always like to highlight that it should be problem solution focused. Like, what is this product solving for you as the customer if you were to buy it, right? So let's get back to the original question here. Are you basing who that is on Amazon Analytics or purchasers? A little bit of both here, because Amazon has analytics on the purchasers here. It's going to come down to this. If we can show my screen here, this demographics data. Again, another great brand analytics tool. What I would push you all on is you should have an understanding of who your core target audience is, your demographic is before you launch on Amazon typically. And it's okay if you're hearing that and you're like, oh my goodness, I never even thought about that. Let's learn how you can use some Amazon data then. So brand analytics, demographics tab. You will be able to get tons of awesome data on age ranges for your unique customers, ordered units, as well as their income, as well as their education, gender, and marital status. That's about as deep as Amazon goes on the demographics, but man, it's better than nothing. And you know, sometimes I work with sellers and we get into their account for the first time during an onboarding call, and like I previously said, they don't know that. Then we get to this data and it's like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that. Going back to what John showed on, like, if it's a what was it, a pineapple?
The pineapple core, yeah.
Yeah. That seemed to be more like exactly like you said, John. Stay-at-home mom, meal prepping for her kids, utilizing everything she can out of the pineapple, whatever. But the point is that when you looked at that A+ content, it was showing like moms and families and kids, like they were really honing in on what we assumed is that target audience. Yeah. So yes, we have the data here. It is good data. You should utilize this. And then to take it a step further in terms of utilizing it, utilize it in your titles, in your bullets, in your images and infographics. And A+ content is where you get the most validation there when trying to get conversions and honing in on your demographics. That's what I would say.
As they say around here in New York City, true that. True that. Matthew's asking some more questions. Matthew says, we have a 4-pack of cans launching with a UPC. If we want to sell it in 12 packs, I believe the options we have are 1, another he's getting warmed up, guys. Another UPC and ship it in as 12 packs prepackaged, 2 virtual bundle, or 3 GTIN EXP. He says, then do you know if the virtual bundles or GTIN options will be charged as 3 separate FBA fees for the orders, or the fees discounted cheaper like we would if it was sold as a separate UPC 12 pack?
Okay, go back to part 1 on that. We got a lot to unwrap here. And I love these discussions because this is there's a lot of different routes you can go with this type of question. So you have a 4-pack, it's launching. You're thinking about also doing a 12-pack. What's the best option to do that? So let me tell you the first option, and that's utilizing what you already have with that 4-pack. What you can do, and this is a strategy that we like to implement to increase average order value and conversions on the page, is create a multi-tier discount under the promotion. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, show you how to do that, because you don't need to create a new ASIN for that. You can use your existing 4-pack, and you can incentivize customers to buy multiple orders or units of that 4-pack. And yeah, you like that? They do that in New York too, don't they?
Eyes on.
So let's go over to advertising. Let's go over to promotions. Let's act like we are going to make a % off promotion. Now, what you can do here is you could set a tiered discount. You buy one of that item and you can get the second one X% off. You buy 3, you could buy, or excuse me, yeah, you buy 3, you would get another set of % off. You are essentially creating tiers, trying to increase average order value when a customer is purchasing your products. That is the simplest strategy to go down with. I highly recommend, compared to virtual bundles, launching a new UPC and shipping it in as a 12-pack, especially if this is a consumable. It looks like cans of what? I'm not sure. But you're creating your parentage there, right? And it sounds like if it's just a 4-pack, it's a standalone listing. There's nothing else there. Now, with adding a 12-pack to that, first off, you're giving customers more choice when they get to your product detail page, especially if you're trying to heavily drive ads to the page as well. And again, when you have that unique ASIN, that 12-pack ASIN, which would have its own UPC, it's parented together with the 4-pack, you could help increase your review count, right? So let's say you already have the 4-pack, it's selling, it has reviews. You add a 12-pack under that, all of those reviews aggregate under the parent, right? So you're essentially giving that 12-pack new listing a boost right off the bat. For the virtual bundle, you need 2 existing ASINs. And correct me if I'm wrong, John, I don't think you can use the same ASIN for a virtual bundle.
Nope. Well, what do you think also about the strategy? Sometimes I tell people, if some people might be a little gun shy about sending in a quantity, right, that they're not sure if it's going to sell or not. So sometimes I'll tell them, cool, if you have the FBA for the single, or in this case, the 4-pack of cans, open up an FBM listing for a new ASIN on the parentage of the 12-pack, just to kind of test the waters and see if we get some interest. And then, it's of value, and, it's for you to send the inventory into FBA.
Yeah, that's a great strategy, especially if you don't have the data or you're unsure if a new potential variation, whether it's a different pack size, whether it's a different style or color, whatever the variation is. Very good strategy to test the validity there. And then if it's working well, send units into FBA and get that faster shipping time.
Yep.
Good idea. Do you know if virtual bundles or GTIN options would be charged as 3 separate fees? I believe with virtual bundles, they are separate fees.
That I don't know. That's outside.
Sometimes these specific questions get me, gang.
Let me just call Jason. Hang on.
Yeah, kick me out. No, so I think with virtual bundles, they still have to pick and pack those items separately. I believe those are separate FBA fees. Would be charged as 3 separate FBA fees for the orders, or are the fees discounted cheaper, like we would get if we sold it as a separate UPC?
I don't think it's going to be discounted. I think Amazon's already giving the value prop of the bundle, right?
Yeah.
It's just I don't think they're going to discount because it's a I think they're going to hit you with all the fees.
I think, yeah, if you did it on 2 listings, a virtual bundle, it would be what those individual FBA fees are off the top of my head. Pretty confident in that one.
Good question, Matthew. Maria says, how can we join My Amazon Guy for an internship? Applying many times, but didn't give the opportunity. You just got to, I don't know. Tom, what are we doing here?
We are hiring like crazy right now. We are hiring, thank you, internships, myamazonguy.com. Let's throw on that internships page. Perfect. Go to our website. Can you show my screen real quick? Thank you. myamazonguy.com/internships. We are hiring like crazy. We're hiring brand manager interns, working under fine people like myself or other account directors here, getting training, learning as they go. It's okay if you don't have the Amazon Seller Central experience. Maybe you've never worked at an agency before. Maybe you've never sold products on Amazon before. That's okay. We have all the learning and resources to get you up to speed. So yes, visit myamazonguy.com. We have our careers pages. We have our internship pages, and we are drastically growing. So we would love to see another application come our way, Maria. Thank you.
Woo, woo. All right, Tom, we got a lot of stuff in the queue, so we're going to have to rapid fire some of these.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get your rapid fire mode on. Engage. That's your rapid fire face? No, that's like something broken. I didn't do it. All right, cool. So Margaret says, I checked the automated unfulfillable settings, and it says that Amazon has grayed out the disable button, so meaning they will sell our item if someone returns it. We want to just have it back.
Yeah, there's check boxes. You can turn off liquidations, and you can turn off refurbishments. So yes, automated fulfillable, unfulfillable inventory has been grayed out for, like, turning that off has been grayed out for a while. Unclick those check boxes for refurbishments and liquidations, and then you can review and then get that sent back to you. And you can even still have that automated on a 2-week or monthly basis. Next.
Cool.
Ooh, let's do it.
All right. So Easy Stud Rack says, can you review my ASIN? Got it. You going to bring it up, or you want me to bring it up?
I got it. /DP/B0B8XM1L29.
I don't know if I'm nearsighted or farsighted. Like, I can't tell lately because I have to, like.
Okay, so what do we got here? A women's sweatshirt, hoodies, women hoodies, sweatshirt tops, women patchwork print sweater with neck warmer.
I'm 1,000% sure you put in the wrong ASIN.
Really?
Yeah. So it's B0B8XM1L29.
Yep, I put a Z instead of a. Hey, here we go. Awesome.
Because his YouTube name is Easy Stud Rack, and I was like, it doesn't seem like an Easy Stud Rack kind of sweater.
So, John, what are you seeing here?
So we're talking about, okay, so let me make my screen a little bit bigger so I can see, because I'm blind. So shelf brackets for wall mount shelf, floating shelf hardware. Okay, cool. So this is hardware, garage shelf brackets, wood not included, 32 pack, 16 pair gray. I will say right off the bat, I don't know what I'm looking at. I do now that I spend some time on it, but I see that I think there's a better way to merchandise this in your main hero image.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning to. So I get what you're going for here.
Yeah, you're selling the brackets, right? The little slots. I think you need an up-close shot of that. I don't know if those are renderings or not.
They're for sure renderings.
Yeah, so you'd want to have a very, very, very up-close shot, like a circle of it, and then like maybe like a quantity amount in the back. But you want to break down a little bit further in your secondary and tertiary images about the wood. It's specific because you're calling out wood not included in your title, because it probably means that people have complained about it. And I'm assuming that means because of your index image showing that, right? The other thing is your parentage confuses me. So if I go here, it says 8-pack, 32-pack, but it's white. So I think you need a 2-step kind of 2-layer parentage. Yeah. So we're talking about quantity and color, because right now it's a little confusing.
Good to see that you have a lot of your features here filled out in the back end. Sometimes we hop on these ASIN reviews and these are just straight up missing, and this all helps with organic indexing, which is great to see. The bullets look pretty well built out. Obviously, we don't have keywords in front of us here. I would assume you're doing your due diligence and checking on your competitors and seeing where we can make sure we're implementing keywords. I would double check your back end for these search terms. With that being said, don't be afraid, especially using Helium 10 and reverse ASIN, look up your own ASIN with Cerebro. If you're seeing your organic index keywords drop, that count, that total count, refresh those every 30 to 60 days. Test out some, maybe some keywords you're finding through your SEO research that aren't on your titles or bullets already. Maybe a couple misspellings, maybe some Spanish variations. But again, it's going to come down to what your competitors are indexing for that you're missing that have good search volume. Now, John, I agree with you here on the main image. And what's hard for me is I am not a woodworking type person. This is not a product I would ever buy. But I mean, how else do you think we better showcase this product? Because I agree with you here. It's showing the application. This is almost like a great secondary image to me, but man, we got to be able to showcase what this product is a little better.
I think if you take a look at the third image in the photo stack, and if you were to blow that up into the application part of it, where you're hyper focused on the wood going into that says a lot more than the main index image. And then you're able to talk about the quantity and what that, because it makes sense in your secondary images, like what you do, right?
Yeah.
But I have it open on my screen too, so I can see it a little bit bigger. But what you don't talk about in your overall content, whether it's in the photo stack or in your A+ content, is that what's the alternative, right? So you say things like goodbye to mess and stress. You don't show messy, cluttered cabinets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So people want to see that. And then what's the other alternative? So like there's going to be people that are, so it's us versus them. So you versus your competitors, but it's also you versus the typical alternative. So are you better than me going into my garage and putting these big bulky shelves up that can tip over? Is this better for, compact safety? Because what if you look a little bit further into, scroll down to his A+ content. So his whole hook is that he it's a shelf rack that fits between studs in a wall. So if you're in a garage, so it's easy stud rack, great name. But if you're in a garage that's unfinished, right, and the studs are open, you're capitalizing on that space. So what you need to be showing is if the studs are not finished, if it's not finished and the studs are open, if someone puts a shelf in front of it, that's a waste of space, right? That's a waste of space. It's dangerous. It could fall over. It's more costly because, plastic ones can sag. And this one, the wood is whatever wood you want to pick, whatever fits. It's very DIY. The other thing is, I see that you're made in the US, but you don't have any sort of call out in your main photo stack that you're made in the US, which is a big miss, especially since you're a premium product. I mean, you're $99. It's not cheap, right? So you
John, give him a little credit here. We got it made in the USA.
Well, that's very little, if any credit's given, right? So that's on the third image, and that's not going to say much. So telling isn't selling. So understand if you take, and I do this on Wednesdays all the time, I'll pull people's images and I'll do Canva on it. If you take a little circle that shows American flag, you don't even have to say made in the USA. And that's going to, explain very clearly what it is.
Yeah. So overall, though, this listing is pretty well built out. It really just comes down to showcasing the need from what you're saying. I like the comparison of like, hey, here's a normal messy garage with our product. This is what it could look like, right? Yeah. I think that's a good idea. You're pretty clean on your SEO for your alt text, it looks like. I clicked into a few of these and almost every single one had the full build out here for your image alt text, which is good to see, helping with SEO indexing. And what I also did see looking at your BSR here, let's double check. Okay, cool. This is FBA. Good delivery. You had a nice drop here in your BSR. Looks like as of May 25th. Curious on what you did there. Maybe it was a back-end SEO refresh. Maybe it was updating titles or bullets, or maybe you launched a couple new images. But good to see you're on a better trend here, because it looked heavily oscillating here previously for your bestsellers rank. You're almost hitting a new all-time low for the last 90 days with your BSR in the last week or so, which is good to see. But
this is the one time hitting an all-time low is a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It is the one time. I think where you take this a step further is how else can you push on ads? Other competitors, you could be targeting new competitors in the market, competitor ASIN targeting, category ASIN targeting. And again, just refreshing and optimizing those keywords, whether it be on the PPC side or the organic backend search terms SEO side.
Cool. Gotta keep on keeping on. Ellie Dig, Ellie, a new YouTube member. Thank you. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat lunch.
It is lunch.
We're rapid fire mode. We gotta go rapid fire. Mohammed says, how do we remove products from Amazon retail program? I don't know. What's an Amazon retail program?
That's kind of what I'm wondering too.
Like, do you want to remove your product from the Amazon catalog? Like from being offered? Typically, if it's already in the catalog, you're removing the offering. You're not really going to remove the actual item from being in the catalog. But give us some more clarity, and maybe we'll try and get that answered today or next time. Margot says, I want to hide browse nodes because when I see my competitors, their browse nodes are hidden. Does that even make sense, or just leave it alone?
Better to have a browse node, for sure. Better for searchability, better for placements.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Papa John's.
Scott says, I've seen so many ASINs without showing at the top, but the actual category will always show up, down, the bottom. Show up.
Yeah,
down.
so I know what this is referring to.
Sometimes that may be the case if Amazon changes one and not updated yet. Oh, regarding browse nodes. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, I could share my screen real quick here. Okay, back on the Easy Stud Rack listing. It's a good comparison right now. So yeah, what we have Scott saying is sometimes you're not seeing the actual full bracket in the branch of your category here, but then sometimes you can go down and see the actual category you're landing in. Maybe I went too far down. Maybe it's also just not showing up. Here we go. Shelf brackets. Home improvement. So typically when you're not seeing this browse node here, it's because Amazon probably changed the path and you need to refresh it. Easily done from a feed. But yes, you should always have the path up here, and then you should see the category path, or excuse me, the more in-depth category that you're actually in the bottom as well.
Cool. Zoe says, should backend terms be different keywords not used in title bullet points, misspells, or should you also aim to use exact phrases not used, e.g. large bag, even though bag may have been already used?
You're launching a new product, include keywords that are highly applicable, high search volume in your backend search terms, in your titles, in your bullets. Refresh those after 30, 45 days. That is when you want to remove what we call pink search terms, those terms that are already in your titles and in your bullets, and you want to start broadening your backend search terms to increase your overall organic index keyword count. Keep that up. Utilize Search Query Performance Report to find more keywords you could input in the backend. Utilize Helium 10, Cerebro, Reverse ASIN Lookup. It looks like John's taking notes and sharing intel to other people on his phone.
Yeah, hey Jason. Yeah, I told him I got to do rapid fire mode. He's not. He's just keep on going. I told him I got a lot of questions. All right, I'll let you go. All right. Yeah, no, that was the next one. We're rapid fire mode. Janella says, "Hard, love you too." Scott says, "Yes, they will run out and get the buy box down, but the historical price is permanently destroyed. You are correct in educating them to set parameters. Yes or no, sell on marketplaces and set map pricing.
Agreed.
You also give them a different UPC or require them not to link yours ASIN." Got it. Jeff says, "Thanks, Thomas."
Always happy to help, Jeff.
Margot says, "Maybe unmanaged product documents under."
That's exactly what it is. Thank you so much. It's exactly what it is. Yes, you can upload your certifications there.
Mohammed says, "We are the brand owner." I don't know
what was the original question there?
Oh, how do we remove products from the retail program? Yeah. Can you remove stuff from Amazon catalog if it's already there?
Yeah, I mean, you could.
Just the offering can be done. Can you petition Amazon to take the listing down out of the catalog?
Well, you remove the listing in the back end if, let's say,
if you don't control the listing. What if you're the brand owner and you don't control the listing?
But he is the brand owner.
What if I'm the brand owner and someone's selling my brand through distribution? They created the listing on Amazon.
Yeah, no, it'll still be there because it's in their Seller Central account and they're listing that product and they have the stock. Now, if you are the brand owner, oh, I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
If I'm John's Apples and I'm wholesaling out and whatever, and Tom's Fruit is selling my stuff on there, and then you stop selling them, the offer is still there.
It kind of depends how this partnership comes up. Again, it comes down to the wholesale relationship. Do you have set map pricing? Do you already have an agreement with them? If you don't, again, Amazon's not in the business of policing this. You can do scary things like send a cease and desist to try to get them to not sell your products if you don't have a previous agreement. But Amazon, that's lawyers, that's sending these via email.
I want to see some desist letters throughout my e-commerce experience I've received and thrown directly in the garbage.
Yeah.
Strike Club says, one of my orders got refunded because customer complained it arrived too late. My product is FBA, so does this mean Amazon will refund it, but I won't lose the sale?
Yeah, Amazon would refund those, and if they're not, open a case on that.
How do you get referral fee discounts? I get it sometimes, but not sure how to get it again.
Now, referral fee, aka category fee.
Isn't that something where they were doing where if you restock this, we'll give you a certain discount? If you
I've seen that I think that's on the FBA.
I think that could be what it's referring to. I'm not sure, but I know they're giving a little bit of discounting if Amazon recommends you send more inventory in. They're like, we'll give you a break on something.
Yeah, Strike Club, those are set in stone, those referral fees. It's category dependent. Sometimes Amazon might give you a slight discount. I remember seeing that not too long ago in I think just the FBA dashboard, and they were trying to incentivize customers to send in more units. We'll give you X% off.
Yeah.
But with that being said, those are not consistent. Those are not set in stone.
Promotional kind of stuff.
Yeah. Your referral fee is set in stone, 8 to 15%, depending on what category you're in.
Mohammed says, someone claimed our Amazon storefront. How do I get it back as we have brand ownership and registry?
Yeah, go into brand registry, open up a case. You're going to have to heavily detail, like include your serial number, include all your trademark information, detail specifically what the problem is. I would not do Seller Central support cases on this. I would do brand registry cases. And hopefully they easily see that and help you get that back. But it's going to be through case management. Nothing you can solve there on your own.
Cool.
Keyword question.
Brian says, hello, another keyword question, but concerning back-end search terms, should we strive to put the full keyword phrase where applicable?
From what I've seen, that typically doesn't matter. You can include, it doesn't have to be in the set like phrase of the keyword that it comes out on. So let's say you sell a men's watch and you want to have men's watches in the back-end search terms. Amazon's algorithm takes care of that for you all the way. You don't have to have it in a phrase order, because if you were to do it in a phrase order, what's going to happen there is there's no benefit from utilizing the same search term multiple times in the back end search terms. No SEO benefit there. Even something like men compared to men's, just include one. You don't need both. Typically, whatever one has more search volume for that phrase, I would recommend. But no, it does not need to be in phrases. It should just be a hodgepodge of all these terms that you want to index for. And you utilize those phrases, though, to determine what should be imported into the back-end search terms, but it does not have to be in a phrase, and that doesn't help you anymore in SEO.
Cool. Kim K says, a newer version, better quality. Not sure what that's referring to.
Oh, I forget what we answered for Kim. Again, we're in rapid fire mode here.
All right, Kim. Zahir says, friend caught selling inauthentic product. Ouch. It was not intentional, but due to lack of knowledge, although he accepted the responsibility and submitted apologies, is there any way you get inventory back?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, just because saying sorry, that's like with customs. If you get, no. I would say that ship has sailed.
Yeah. If you can't already do like a removal order in Seller Central and get your inventory back, and if they're holding it, that's the way of the world.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. Ellie Dick says, hi, John. Hi, Ellie. How are you? Rough Liners on Amazon. Good morning, all. And
Good morning,
afternoon.
good afternoon, and good night.
A lot of Jim Carrey quotes we're doing today.
Yeah, where they're coming out.
Rough Liners says, my biggest struggle is inventory and keeping up with demand. Even as I grow, I feel like I can't keep enough inventory inbound to keep ads running. Might be my whole inventory planning. Tips help.
It's going to come down to what your lead time is for your manufacturer. Again, ideally, you want to be ahead of the game here. Ideally, you want to have an FBM backup, even if FBA is out of stock, so you can have something ship still and you're not losing your rankings and your indexing. It sounds like you need to have a better grasp on your inventory lead time from your manufacturer, honestly.
Yeah. He has 2 sizes right now on the way. I'm sending 1K units each every 40 days. I don't think that's going to be enough. These sound like good problems to have, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, you do need it sounds like you're at the point where you are scaling high enough where you do need a 3PL to manage this for you. Someone to hold your stock so you can be a little overloaded, especially as we get into the seasons of Prime Day. And sheesh, before you know it, it'll be Christmas gift giving time. Year's going fast here. I
got 3 kids. I'm not ready for that. That's expensive. Roughline says, could use some graying out on the shells and make the metal pieces pop. Yeah. So what are they? So that they are fully filled with color and the shells are kind of grayed out. Does that make sense? No, it definitely does. You want to take the focus away from the stuff that's not included and focus on the stuff that is included for the shelf product. Yep. Brett says, hi, I ran out of stock and my ad stopped. Ouch. However, as soon as I added shipment, my ads started back up again. Listings showed temp out of stock. I thought ads won't start until my stock arrived. This cost me a bunch of money because now no one's going to buy when it says the product won't be in stocks for a month.
Brett, this is what's happening here. So you ran out of stock, you sent in a shipment. Once that shipment is marked as inbound, Amazon is actually activating that listing most times, right? And it's really bad for the the customer experience because you're going to see as it's inbound, it has a way far off delivery date because they still haven't received that stock yet. So future state here, if this ever happens again, I would recommend turning your ads off until that inventory is actually checked in and you can deliver on the Prime promise and the better delivery times. But it's going to result in low conversions if it's just marked as inbound. Ads will still be running because the listing will be technically active. Amazon will turn your listing on when it's checked off as inbound with a far off delivery date.
Cool. Easy Start Direct says, thanks for the tips.
Awesome.
You're welcome. And we're going to end on this last comment, which Tom, get ready. This is a really good one. And we're gonna look excited, and then I'm gonna screenshot it, or Ryan on the back end, screenshot this because I want to send it to Steven and the team because it's a big one. So Roughliner says, also, I put in my resignation at my engineering job. Mag has helped me launch my product and start my dream of working for myself. Thank you, team. You're welcome, dude. Like,
you are so welcome. This made my week.
We love hearing this stuff. Next Thursday is my last day, man.
Congratulations! That's awesome,
very
man.
Cool. That is probably one of the best feelings, that you took nothing and made it something, and there's all the clawing and scraping of DI. Because I've talked to him many times through calls and reviews and stuff like that. And finally being able to do that's definitely awesome. So congratulations with that. So as Jason, Ryan, toss up the mag stuff, the banner here, because Jason always ends it with we are my Amazon guy, and this has been the Friday AMA with our lovely guest Thomas Fitzgibbons, the group account director here at My Amazon Guy. Feel free to visit myamazonguy.com, where we have a plethora of information all the way through SOPs. Right now we have a really great promotion with our SOPs, limited time discount for lifetime access. Get the tools that Steven put in our hands that got him to get that awesome Lambo. If you haven't seen it, I recommend going and taking a look at those videos, Steven in his Lambo. There he is right there. It goes really fast.
It does go really fast.
So if you want a Lambo, you know what to do. Then we have a ton of our courses here on Mag School for you to enroll in, everything from PPC to merchandising to launching to logistics and all that kind of good stuff. If you're looking for a coaching call, Thomas is not up here. He's too fancy to be up there for coaching calls. But you can speak to someone like Jason or any one of our other account directors here for any sort of tips or tricks that you may have. We have lovely case studies on our site. If you want to learn more about the great success we've had of our other partners on here, feel free to head over there. And one last thing is, it's not loading. Feel free to go to myamazonguy.com/ASIN. Ryan's, I know, is scrambling back there with the banners. Throw up the ASIN one. So go over here to the ASIN at myamazonguy.com/ASIN and submit for your ASIN review. And my team here in sales will go ahead and send you a nice personalized video advising what the best practice is, how we can help, all that kind of rich, good stuff that you need.
John.
So that was rapid fire mode. We're at an hour and 45 now. We've done it. Thomas, thank you very much.
Thank you, John. We made a good team today, man. We solved some issues. We made some people happy. We got
laughed,
an awesome success story about someone being able to quit their job after learning some tips, tricks, joining our weekly Q&As. That is so awesome to hear.
Tom and I had a very interesting thumbnail we were going to put out for this podcast that we had to retract because it just looked a little odd. So I was trying to get fancy with the way Jason does all the pop culture references. That's the one for the archive. No one's going to see that. But yeah, so Jason will be back next week. Tom, thanks again for hopping on. We appreciate it.
Thank you, John. And thank you, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. All right.
Thanks, guys. Take care.